This is the Wait For It podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wait For It podcast. I am your co-host, Phil Barrera, aka Phil the Filipino.
And I'm your other co-host, Mr. Eric Almighty. And, there was a running joke on the podcast where, for this particular series, if we ever talked about Fortnite and we did a Fortnite dedicated episode, well, that would be the end of this series. Well, you know what? On the 5-year anniversary of the game room where it happens, it's only fitting that we talk about Fortnite as our series finale for this particular series. The game room where it happens, this is the last episode, and it's a big one, Phil. It's the game that pretty much controlled our lives for feels like a decade.
Yeah, we're taking the game room out to pasture and shooting it in the head. we're building, we're overbuilding and cranking 90s, and we're gonna double pump the game room where it happens right in the back of its skull here this evening, and we'll talk about why that is happening. But yeah, Fortnite, man, a game we started playing in 2017. It was when I was still living in Dallas, and Eric and I had kind of like gotten away from multiplayer gaming, and then I moved, and then we found Titanfall 2, which we've done an episode on. And then there was a game that was making rounds called PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. It was a new type of game mode called Battle Royale. And we were like, well, that looks fun, but we don't have gaming PCs because we were, just console dorks at the time. And we didn't have anything to play. Well, Epic Games then came out with a little game using the same exact what's it called? Like the same rig that played PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and they just threw it out to the world to see what would happen. And it was our opportunity to jump into the Battle Royale realm, and the rest, as they say, cliché-ly, is history when it came to Fortnite. So yeah, we're going to talk about a little bit of the impact this had as far as our gaming, and then now why, and also more so like why we're going away from this series and why it's being retired. So yeah, very excited to discuss Fortnite here this evening, Eric, and put a nice little bow on what has been a really good run for this series. So I'm very excited. If you are brand new to the podcast and you want to hear us talk more about gaming, sorry, go to the Linktree link that will in the show notes. We'll tell you all about that in a little bit, and we appreciate you for checking us out. But yeah, Fortnite, Eric, released back in 2017 in early access, and it is still going strong today. Is it as strong as it when it was at its peak? Not necessarily, but if you don't know what Fortnite is, you've probably been living under a rock. It is honestly not really definable in 2025, Eric, because it's so many different things. It is a battle royale mode. It has Lego. It's got festival. It's got a driving mode still, a racing mode for some reason that's not very fun. It's a lot of things. Starting back in 2017, Eric, I don't know how much you knew about PlayerUnknown's, but you did know that I was like, hey, there's a game coming out. It's called Fortnite. Let's download it and try it. And it essentially took us away from Titanfall 2, which was like near the end of its life cycle. But we were looking for something new to play in 2017. What do you remember fondly about those early days of Fortnite?
So I think the fact that a Battle Royale game is just like so common now, it just really dilutes the fact of how like unknown that genre really was in gaming at that time. Maybe not the first of its kind, definitely not the first of its kind, but Fortnite took that model and made it fun, made it look really good. The one thing I can kind of remember, Phil, is that the game itself looked different. It looked good, and it had an aesthetic to it. It had high quality to it. So the gameplay wasn't anything too hard to pick up. It was nice to look at, and when you get that victory royale, you feel really good. And it wasn't always easy to get, especially back in my day, in the early days of Fortnite. So those are a lot of the things that I remember the most. It came off of a few years of absence from playing something like a Call of Duty Zombies, where I had a similar type of feeling. That feeling of getting to a really late stage round or really accomplishing something big. I hadn't had that feeling in a multiplayer game in some time since I was playing Black Ops with a bunch of buddies. And it wasn't surprising that once I started getting that same like hype or high off of the game, like I stuck with it for quite a bit of time, and it just gave us something. It just gave us an excuse to play something together, which I think was what you're alluding to with our history.
Yeah, because once I moved, we were like looking for stuff to do, and like I said, for a while it was Titanfall 2, and then that game ran its course. So I think we were playing with your brother at the time and not Stefan. We were playing with the other brother, Chris, and we were, like you said, it was just, I think, just solo and squad. So we were always playing with like a random, and I still remember getting our first win because we kept getting so close and we just couldn't make it happen. But then we, finally figured it out, and then the evolution of learning how to build. Like we're gonna very much be unks here in this episode, because back in our day when there was no zero build, you either figured it out or you perished. Like it was just a refreshing thing. And also when building was still fun, and it was base building. It wasn't, I'm going to, overbuild and build all these ramps and edits and all that shit, like all the disaster that it is now. I jumped into build mode the other day just to see how it went. It was an absolute disaster. So ran away from that immediately. I actually am on the Fortnite page right now, and there are 26,000 more people playing zero build. So a lot of people still feel the same way. But yeah, it was definitely it was totally different, man. It was like you said, it was fresh. It was a new concept, and while not new in terms of like pop culture, but bringing it to the gaming space for those of the people that could not play PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and then there was a whole thing as far as like lawsuits and all that kind of shit we're not going to talk about. But remember those early days, like when we were like, man, it'd be really cool to get Attack on Titan in this. What if Thanos was in the game? What if all this shit was in the game? We were like, yeah, well, unfortunately that'll never happen. And look at it now. It is this powerhouse in pop culture, and people people shit on Fortnite, and understandably so, because they think it's a kiddie aesthetic. And I get it. Right now the Simpsons season is going on right now, and people and I understand that, but like at its core, Fortnite is this staple in terms of like gaming and pop culture now. No matter what you think, no matter what, it's going to be here to stay. So what do you think has lent itself to its longevity, even again if it's not at its peak anymore? Eric, what do you think has led it to still be around to this day? It is not a dead game. I'm here to tell you people that think that it's not dead by any means. It's still going very, very strong.
I think the thing that stood out to me the most was the fact that this game continued to evolve, and it wasn't afraid to do that. Now, has it gotten stagnant at points? Yes. Did we want a new map for the longest time? Yes. yes, we did. But it did a lot of interesting stuff. Like, again, there weren't a lot of games with battle passes until this. Battle Royale, the genre, got defined by this game. There were a ton of additional things that it was doing. It got Lego Fortnite. It got Rocket Racing. It got Fortnite Festival. It got Fortnite Ballistic, which was like your Counter-Strike or Valorant equivalent, right? Like, this game continues to do really interesting stuff, and that's not even to mention the creative modes. Like, we only explored the sandbox in a certain way, but like the amount of things that this game did from what it was when it first started as Save the World is crazy, and the game just continues to adapt. I think that's why it stayed pretty relevant over the years, and it's gotten different fan bases because of that. Like, I think that is extremely hard to do, and to stay relevant for this long, I can see it lasting a full decade. It's getting close to that decade mark since Battle Royale came out, at least. I definitely think it can do that. How long? I don't think it's a forever thing. How long will be interesting. It'll be an interesting thing to pay attention to notice, and to really record into the history books. But for now, I definitely think it still has the momentum because it doesn't refuse to adapt.
Right. I think the difference between this and something like you mentioned, a Call of Duty, is people are coming to Fortnite for a specific vibe and a specific type of game. And while Call of Duty has tried to Fortnite itself, like, that's not what the community wants. Fortnite, again, like you said, it's not afraid to innovate. And if shit doesn't work out, they're like, okay, well, we'll leave the mode here. If somebody wants to play it, that's fine. The only thing they've really abandoned, what I think of, is the meme where somebody is holding up the kid above water, and then like there's something like dead and that's Save the World, because Save the World was their thing. That's how this game started out. I think IGN and like Game Informer was previewing this game back in like 2015 as far as Save the World, and that's the mode that if you were a fan of that, sorry, that is definitely dead in the water. It is all focused on everything else. So yeah, they're not afraid to try new things. They're not afraid to, like, the when they put Thanos in the game and like the Infinity Gauntlet, that like blew our minds that something like that could happen, right? And then for years we joked about it, like, man, the ODM gear would fucking slap in Fortnite, and we got it. And it's still to this day the best traversal item that's ever been in the game. It was so good. It worked exactly like it. Man, I wish I could get My Hero Academia skins in this, and it happened. So yeah, the fact that like all of these pop culture things are ready to like line up with and work with them. Like, I'm just looking at the page right now. Like, K-pop Demon Hunters is on the front page, Squid Game, The Walking Dead, Ninja Turtles. Obviously they own Fall Guys and Rocket League. So like all those things were just such easy inclusions, and now they have the Fortnitemares thing is a big deal every year. So and The Simpsons itself, like having its own season and its own island is a big deal. So yeah, I honestly, Eric, I don't see this train stopping anytime soon. Could player counts go down more? Of course, but I don't think that just because of the way that, like you said, they are open to innovating, I could see this sticking around for a very long time. And it's not a yearly release. There's no Fortnite 1, Fortnite 2, Fortnite Black Ops, Fortnite, Vanguard and all that shit. Like, they can just keep going. It's free to play. And you mentioned something important, like, did the battle pass model, like, that's a shitty thing. That is something that they have brought into gaming that's not good, and it's here to stay. I have been known to maybe buy a battle pass or two when it comes to a game. So that method, unfortunately, being introduced is something that it will unfortunately be a stain on gaming, but not for Epic Games. It's going to be a great thing in terms of their wallets.
Well, maybe, but I think that's an interesting conversation, because I don't know that I feel that way if the game is free to play. Like, having a battle pass on a paid game.
That's true. Yeah, you have to pay $70 for Call of Duty and $100 for Battlefield. You're so right.
Even
yeah.
playing, what did we play? Because it was on Game Pass, Rematch, as a recent example, had, I think, a battle pass element, right? And like, that game it costs money typically. Like, if it's on Game Pass, I'm still paying some type of money for it. If you have to pay for the game, I don't think you should be allowed to do that. There's also a lot of different ways you can earn V-Bucks and all these different things with the Battle Pass. So like, I think Fortnite has always done it best, but it is definitely something that I think could be viewed as a stain. But also, again, I think it gives a lot of those free-to-play titles and the free-to-play model a real fighting chance out there where it didn't really have that before. And again, it doesn't fall underneath some of those dead games that don't have a high player count. Like, some of these games that are free to play with a battle pass, they can make that revenue. Fortnite did it better than anyone, but they can make that revenue off the battle pass and those aesthetics. The game I would probably say very much teetered the line for me was like Helldivers. Helldivers is like a $40 game, which was a discount for how good that game was. However, having to pay $10 or however much it was for each little pack that would get released, at a certain point, you're like, okay, well, how much am I about to spend on this game now? It should just be free to play at that point. And that's kind of where I think the stain comes into play, is, again, those paid games that are doing a little bit too much.
Yeah, very, very good point. How many of those Call of Duty battle passes did I buy? And I don't think I ever completed one Call of Duty battle pass, but I was like, ooh, that level 100 skin's cool.
And one of the reasons I stopped playing Call of Duty, because I didn't want to prestige and then second prestige and then third prestige. Like, and then the challenge is, like, sometimes they're just chores. And that's where I think, Phil, and I don't know if this is a good transition point, but like, why did we stop playing Fortnite? We had such a good time with it. It's easy today to pick up. We played this a month or two ago, I think, and I picked it up like it was nothing. Yeah, some of the guns have changed, some of the map has changed, some of the traversal has changed, but for the most part, like, when they introduced vehicles, quick adaption, like, you know what I mean? Like, you just go into it, you learn it. They had planes at one point. That didn't break the system, right? So why did we stop playing it? And Phil, what it comes down to for me is there were things like the challenges that I weren't finding fun. I was finding myself going into these Battle Royale games trying to do too much, when at the end of the day, your goal should just be about being the last man or team standing. And Fortnite started to add a lot of these elements that really took it away from me, we had a buddy that would refuse to do the challenges, right, Boogie?
He just never got those challenges done. He just
I don't know why.
He didn't get the full the full payout for that battle pass. I don't know what was his issue, man. So yeah, so. And that's the same thing with me. Like, I had Fortnite crew for a little bit, and depending on what's going on in the season, it will. I'll pick it back up. I will tell you something that pissed me off recently is that I had Fortnite crew because I wanted to get the Megazord skin and the White Ranger and the Green Ranger, and then during the season, because I no longer had Fortnite crew, they took the battle pass away, even though I had already unlocked battle pass stuff, and I had to restart fucking Fortnite crew to get the battle pass again, which is so irritating. So they're not exempt from any of this kind of stuff. But yeah, as far as that goes, and I still play with like my sister and Jordan, and we still hop on. But yeah, as far as like just a gameplay loop is like, that is one of those things where we started finding that we got gaming PCs, right? We got gaming PCs, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment, how our tastes have changed, and that's why this episode is going to go away, because it's just a lot more difficult to plan around that. But we got gaming PCs. We started searching out for more narrative-driven games. Like, we wanted to get those under our belt as well. So it just became to a point where because we were, I think, probably from like 2020 heavy during the pandemic for sure, especially when Jordan started playing with us. Probably until like 2022, we played almost every single night. I would say probably at least 4 out of the 7 days during the week, bare minimum, with a combination of Boogie, Jordan, and then maybe we would rotate some new people in and out because of the Battle Royale, but also because we were doing some of those creative modes and stuff like that. And it just got to the point where, like, again, that gameplay loop just does get a little boring. And, once we weren't as celebratory after like a Battle Royale, we're like, maybe we should like try other things, because there was a time where like it was the biggest thing. We would go on runs and win win every game we played during that night, and like that was a rush, which is honestly kind of crazy, because I'm in the Fortnite subreddit, and like some people never win, and I felt bad because I was like, we win all the time. Like,
listen, not to pat ourselves on the back.
We do win a lot.
When we get on, we do expect at least one dub that night.
Bare minimum one win.
Like every time we get on, not like, I think we're gonna do okay tonight.
I can pull up my Fortnite statistics. Hold on a second.
That's crazy. You should not have access to that.
It's a stat track. It's a website. I didn't make it. If it's available, why would I not use the tool? Okay, let's see. Phil the Filipino. Let's pull it up here. Here is my all-time stat. You should pull this up, Eric. Go to FortniteTracker.com. I want to see what yours is. So I'll just go over, my KD is 1.83, so that's pretty good. I have overall 13,531 kills. That's good. Top 12% in all of Fortnite. And I just found this out. I am approaching 1,000 wins. I have 994 wins.
Wow.
And an 11.8% win percentage. So let's see what yours is, Eric, because you have a little bit of a lesser sample size, because over the last year, you obviously
it's definitely a lesser sample size. How much is your playtime?
Hey, we should not. I don't want to.
No, my number is big, so I know your number is. It's 4 digits. No, it's got to be. It's got to be over 1,000 hours. Just say it. I've already called you out on it. Just say it.
So thanks so much for joining us, you guys.
Phil, I can just pull it up.
That's right. You can just look it up. I have 1,146 hours and 49 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's crazy.
I don't feel good. I don't like that you made me do that.
Yeah, I have played 663 hours. So, much smaller sample size. And I just said I played this game like a lot, Yeah. My win percentage is 11.2, and does that say top 6%?
Yeah, I'm in the top 6% too.
That's crazy. All right, wins.
People don't win, man.
Wins.
I'm in the top 1.5% for wins.
Oh, for wins? Yeah, no, I'm 4.9 with 594. KD is 1.07. Now that's the bottom 17%.
That's not good.
No, that's not good.
How many total matches have you played?
How many total matches?
It should be over to the side. Total under. It's a little graph. Yeah. It's like
total
a little
matches
bar.
is 5,287. Is yours in the tens?
No. 8,407.
Yeah. This is interesting. Wow, this information is just like highly accessible.
Yeah, I told you.
Pretty crazy.
What do you have the most wins of, squads or duos? I assume it's squads, right? Yeah.
That is a great question. For wins?
Yeah, wins.
Yeah, squads.
Yeah, I have 673. I'm in the top 0.1%.
So am I.
Yeah. How many do you have?
502.
Yeah. Yeah. I only have 30. I have 30 solo wins, which is still in the top 1.8%.
Phil.
I don't play a lot of solos, though. So
maybe we should upgrade to premium.
Okay, yeah. What could possibly be behind this paywall, right? All right,
that's nuts.
Let's play Fortnite tonight.
That is
cancel
crazy.
your reschedule the stream for Fortnite. So
that is crazy.
But played a lot of Fortnite, is what I'm trying to say. Coming up on 1,000 wins, that'll be cool. I'll try and stream it. Maybe I'll try and schedule it with a stream to get my 1,000 win on stream. That'd be funny. But
that would be funny.
Yeah, we just specific, especially you started being a little bit more experimental with your gaming. I'm very much more picky. So that's why we started transitioning into just other games, other experiences, like where you'll be more of an open mind. Like I will go in and I will hate another Crab's Treasure. I'll hate something. We'll both hate what was the zombie game that was no good that everybody loves on PlayStation? With not Death Stranding. Days Gone.
Days Gone.
We'll go in and hate that. It's just then it's a lot more time to commit than watching a movie, than watching a TV show. Well, specifically a movie. It takes a lot of time. So just kind of talk about Eric, because you're the one, like I said, who's been definitely a lot more experimental, but you have also found your genre. Like you have already, I think these types of games you already enjoy, but now that you have your gaming PC, you have found your bread and butter, which is what you love to feature over on your personal stream.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys know, if you've been following my journey, just kind of playing more games in the past 2 years, but especially this year, I've been playing a lot more roguelike games. And it really kind of kicked off, Phil. I mean, in April of this year, we played Slay the Spire for the first time. And, leading up to April, I was playing it. So starting the year, and that's one of my favorite games, maybe ever. I love Slay the Spire, a lot. That led me to Balatro. Also one of my favorite games I probably played. It's very addicting, and there's a ton of them. And I just bought a Steam Deck so I could play more roguelikes, because they're so fun to get into. There's sometimes lore behind them, but there's these expansive worlds, and they just have these different paths that you could take, and you continuously are building upon each run. I really enjoy the stop and start nature of that versus some of the narrative driven, games that we'll play. And, when we look at the past couple years, we did an episode of LA Noire. I replayed that. It was cool. It was fun. But I didn't finish the replay because I couldn't imagine spending that much time in it. Claire Obscure, fun game. Great game. Very long. Very, very long. I enjoyed The Wolf Among Us. That was episodic at least, and it didn't require too much time. But then you had a Guardians of the Galaxy, which I wanted to beat and play so I could give my opinion, but I don't really think I fairly enjoyed that game as much as you did, right? Kind of looking back on it. So when we look at all of these games and we're talking about a lot of these episodes, I worry that moving forward, we're going to run into episodes like Ghost of Tsushima, a game that I really enjoyed, but I didn't get to finish it by the time we recorded it. And Phil, kind of staying on topic with that, here are some of the games that we just kind of listed off as maybe one of us will play it and that the other has, and we'll do this episode. Red Dead, BioShock, at least maybe all the BioShocks in general. Those were two big ones. Cyberpunk, another one listed here. There are games like that we're really interested in. You would never play Skyrim, right? So there are certain games that we just wouldn't touch of each other's, or we wouldn't have the time to, and it just ultimately started to spiral into, we're not going to dedicate the time to play the games that we've played. And now the games that we are playing are significantly different, because while you enjoy to Slay the Spire, we're not really playing the same games. And I brought this up to Phil, and he got very touchy about it. I said he's very picky when it comes to his games. I'll pretty much play anything. Phil will not. Phil will not. Phil will look at a game and immediately be like, don't ever send that to me again. And I know that for a fact because Jordan has sent several where you've said exactly that.
What do you mean, games that are never going to come out? That she sent us. that we
I don't
wish
know.
list and will never ever get to play. I
don't
have
know.
been spurned by what's the game that I drafted?
Oh,
By
Kingmakers?
Kingmakers.
Yeah,
I
you
have
just gave
games,
up on the league, man.
I have games on this list that have coming soon release dates that I know I'm never gonna get to play. So that's just how it is with some of these games, and it's part of being a part of the PC master race. So I've just learned to accept that at this point. So yeah, but it doesn't mean again that we don't still find games to play together, because again we'll still play. We'll jump into it, whatever the latest friend slop game is. RV there yet didn't hit for us, unfortunately, but like we have more hits than misses when it comes to those games. When Peak, Repo, those have been a lot of fun. A couple more that come to mind, and more that are going to keep coming out here. Like I know the people that made Peak have a new game. Like I would love to try it out. There are games that Eric and I want to play together. Like I have what's the game, Absalom, right, Eric, that you bought? Like I plan on buying that on the next sale, like when it comes on Steam. So like we'll be able to play that together. So we just moved away from like and you, again, specifically, every once in a while I will get that itch to play a Call of Duty or something like that, and I'll find whatever's on Game Pass at the time or whatever is already available. Not going to spend $70 on fucking Call of Duty in 2025 and beyond. It's not going to happen. We jump into the Battlefield Battle Royale, which was fun. It was fine. We had a good time. We jump into that. If anything, whenever we get that itch to play something competitive, we just play Marvel Rivals with Andrew, and we can play that once. We get our fix, we jump off, and then we play again. We actually probably coming up on our scheduled time with Andrew here in the next couple of weeks, so we should probably text him. So they are also about to release Gambit, and he's a support character, and I kind of really want to play as Gambit as a support character. So so we just do that, and and I think that's a good place for us as far as that. You also have found those games to be more streamable, whereas like the games that I want to play, I learned that story-driven games are not something I want to do on stream because I want to just immerse myself. Like I started playing Ghost of Yote the other day, and I know I'm going to just sit there for hours and do everything that I possibly can. So we just have started to find those games that are where we want to protect and protect the experiences, and then finding the games that we want to share with you guys. And that's just kind of like where we're at right now.
And I think the streaming part of it as well has made it difficult because, Phil, you're not playing any story-driven games. So again, if I'm not doing that often, I will play some, like again, I played The Wolf Among Us on stream. That was a good one. Had I bought Dispatch, that would have been another great game, right? Some of these like narrative games, some of these like episodic ones too, like that Telltale style, really lend themselves. But like and no knock to anyone that does this, but like I couldn't imagine playing Cyberpunk or Red Dead for the first time or multiple times on stream. I don't know that I would really get a kick out of that. I would instead play like an Alien Isolation and like pull that up every October and play a little bit more every year of it. You know what I mean? Like it's a little bit more pick up and stop and start, which again brings me back to that roguelike brain that I've created over the past year specifically. But that's why I like that genre so much, is because I don't feel like it's such an overcommitment. And there are just so many times I played the Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake and I just waned off of that because I was like, there's so much to do and so much to get done. I'm not going to dedicate that much time into this particular game. Now, I say that as someone who did that for Skyrim, and for the next Elder Scrolls probably will do. So when you see me streaming the new Elder Scrolls or the new GTA, I guess fuck whatever I'm saying right now. But for now, that's how I feel.
That's good. That's a good point. Because I do think we'll jump back into the multiplayer space for GTA 6 if it ever comes out. If it's real, who knows? We're approaching, is that game real status with GTA 6?
We are.
So I do think we will jump into that now, because I will play that on PlayStation. Do you plan on getting that on PC, or will you get it on your console?
I don't know.
I feel like by November next year you'll have a capture card.
Probably.
Yeah, because I'm not going to play that with mouse and keyboard. I'm going to play it with the PlayStation controller.
But I mean, you could play it with controller on PC.
I'm going to play it on my brand new Steam box that comes out in 2026.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's tough, man. That's the other thing, right? So kind of talking about why this series is ending, like my PlayStation is staring me right in the fucking face collecting dust. Like it is the last game that I played consistently on this was Astrobot, and that was it.
Yeah,
I really haven't played anything
We'll dust
since.
it off to play. You'll dust it off to when we do Rocket League again once a month. You know,
Yes.
we get the itch for Rocket League, and that's something easy to keep on there.
The
But
random time we play Fortnite, when we play Marvel Rivals, that type of
Right.
stuff.
Do you-
I wish I played it more, but I just don't want to turn it on. I've got more here, and now I've got my Steam Deck, so I have less of a reason to be in front of it.
So you mentioned these like narrative-driven games that you don't want to necessarily do on stream. Because this series is ending, will you ever play Red Dead 2 on your? And if you do, will you play it on PC or will you play it? Will you go back to the console? Because when it comes to those like narrative games, my comfort zone is still playing it with a PlayStation controller, and I think that is the best way to do it. But how are you feeling now? Again, you're gonna have your Steam Deck. Are you gonna play a Cyberpunk or a Red Dead or like one of those narrative-driven games on PC or on your Steam Deck?
Probably not on my Steam Deck. Again, I really bought the Steam Deck with the intention. I literally have like almost double-digit amount of roguelike games that I've been like played a little bit of, or I've played some of, and even games like a Megabonk that I wish I played just casually more often. There are games like that I want to play more. So no, like my Steam Deck specifically for me are those quick start and stop games. Like if I want to play a 15-minute run of something, and whether or not I have the time to continue, I can, stop and start, I will do that. I don't want to immerse myself into a single player game like that. PC though is possible. Like I do have it on my wish list for Red Dead Redemption 2. And I do think at some point I will.
So.
It does. It's on sale now.
I own it. So
It's
I bought
$20 right now. I do think at some point I will play it. It's just, again, I'm going to probably play Baldur's Gate 3 on this before I play a Red Dead. Red Dead still has a chance to be on my PlayStation for that reason. Like, again, a Baldur's Gate I had on my PlayStation, I wasn't really having as much fun as I thought I would on PC. I could see the opposite happening for Red Dead, so I think it's still possible, but I'm not ruling out the Steam purchase of a Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, obviously I bought it to because I wanted to mod the game, specifically Cyberpunk, and then they had a random update in 2025 and just destroyed a day's worth of work. So I went back to the console to finish the game finally. So that'll be something that maybe we discuss in the future. But yeah, Eric, we are going to. There's a lot of plans. There is. What is tentatively going to happen is that we will likely just move What Did I Miss into this space, and then we will have a new bonus episode that Eric and I are throwing around. So if you're curious about that, join our Patreon, which we'll tell you about a little bit more later. But yeah, Eric, I mean, Fortnite, again, I still jump into it quite a bit, probably at least once a week, bare minimum. It's also nice because, when my sister does leave and her and my brother-in-law, they'll be across the country. This is something we can, again, jump in, and you don't really have to think about it. You just play the game, and then you hop off, and, it will stay in my rotation probably for a while. But the fact that it's still kicking, I think, is a testament to their innovation. And, as long as there are franchises to partner with, this is, the limit for Fortnite is endless. And I don't see it going away. I could easily see it, like I said, lasting another 5 years into 2030.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good call. I think, maybe if we ever want to do this series again, we'll do the first episode as Fortnite.
We'll bring it back to Fortnite. Yeah,
we'll bring it back. But yeah, I mean, gaming wise, we'll be talking about that on that What Did I Miss episode still. That bonus episode might include some gaming elements. We're not quite done talking about gaming, and that's why also us doing stuff on Twitch is kind of scratching that itch for us doing some streaming and getting to play. So we're doing that. We're still doing that here, but for this particular series, this is the final curtain and the last call for the game room where it happens.
Yeah, well, I don't think we can play it because it will get taken down. But Q, I Will Remember You by Sarah McLachlan as we take, again, the game room out back and double pump it in the back of the head, or once no scope it, whatever you choose, your weapon of choice. But it's been a fun series. Again, 5 years is a very long time, and we'll still be talking about gaming, and we'll probably reserve some of those Twitch streams for reviews. We did a Last of Us review once upon a time. We will, if you've been watching us for a while, you know we always do a Christmas special with some of our favorite podcasters and content creators. Be in the lookout for an announcement about that when it comes to Twitch. So if you still want to hear us when it comes to gaming topics, definitely follow us over on Twitch, both on the Wait For It page and Eric's personal page. And there's still going to be a lot of gaming content when it comes to the Wait For It podcast. We just found it that it'd be best to end this series here. But Eric, anything else we need to mention before wrapping up? Any other news as far as, like I said, we already mentioned a lot of the gaming stuff, but anything else you want to mention before we get out of here and say goodbye?
No, I think it's been a wonderful journey. Again, if you guys were wondering, this came out November of 2020 is when we did the first Game Room episode, and that was talking about the end of an era when we were getting ready to talk about the release of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X.
I forgot it's called the Series X and not just the S, because that's what we have.
Exactly.
Do you have any episodes here that stand out to you? I think a fun one was Left 4 Dead 2 versus Back 4 Blood. How much did you pay for Back 4 Blood, by the way, Eric? Do you recall?
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't quite remember that.
No. Okay.
No. Okay. Yeah, it's just not crossing my mind. But before that, we also did like Up High, Down Low. That was a lot of fun in the gaming space.
And hot takes and stuff.
Tirades and hot takes. We had a couple other series, so this was one of our first like real staples. It also had that Hamilton reference that I always love.
Yeah.
And we're definitely going to try to keep that in mind for whatever might be coming in the future. But yeah, I mean, it's hard not to pick some more recent ones. Again, I was really happy with the Slay the Spire episode and the way that turned out for us. We also, we played EA Sports College Football 25. That was a great time, especially just considering everything. Helldivers 2, we were well into that game, like when it came out, which was really nice. But, if I gotta only pick one, I mean, the God of War episodes were always really great because we really enjoyed that particular franchise. And that was a big one, 2022, where we had that first episode come out and we had played it leading into Ragnarok. Like, that was a really good stretch of games. We had that, Sifu, A Way Out. There was a lot of good stuff around that time where I think, we were kind of peaking with this series.
Yeah, and then there are also some episodes that we did with other guests where we would split up. Like you did a Dead Space episode with Friendly Neighborhood Gamers. I did an Animal Crossing Disney Dreamlight Valley episode with Emily from Game of Groans. So stuff like that was also fun because there were, again, games that we just did not play. Hogwarts Legacy was a lot of fun. We brought Jordan on to talk about that. Like, talk about a game where it is, those three, or like the horse that is, like the horse it's drawn really well, and then at the very one is drawn like really poorly. Hogwarts Legacy was like, visuals, gameplay, and then story was ass. Like, it was so bad, but it was so much fun to play. Like, I definitely would play the next one. So games like Dead Island 2, remember we played through that with Jordan and Boogie. So looking back at games like The Darkness and Prototype, stuff like that. So a lot of good stuff here. But again, there'll be no shortage of gaming content over on Twitch. So we'll continue the spirit of the game room where it happens over there. But thank you so much for joining us, whether it's your first Game Room episode or you've been here since the very beginning. We appreciate it. There is still, like we mentioned, a lot of Game Room episodes that you can watch over in our library. So make sure you click the link, the Linktree link in the show notes of this and every single episode. You can find all of our social medias there. Keep up with us over on Instagram, TikTok, our growing Discord community, the aforementioned Twitch channel, both mine and Eric's personal account, and head on over to your podcast player of choice and give us 5 stars. It is one of the best ways that you can support the show. We very much appreciate you for those of you that have done that already. And if you'd like to follow both me and Eric on our personal pages as well, Eric updates his stuff in terms of his Twitch streams a lot. Then I will have some very, very exciting updates very soon about some of my voice acting and voiceover journey here. So if you're listening to this episode, it's after Infinity Con, so maybe we met you there. Thank you so much, and we'll have more shows. We're just a couple months away from Brick City Anime Festival. Cannot wait to see you guys in Ocala for that show. But if you want some more from the Wait For It podcast, if you like a little behind the scenes content, as well as getting these episodes early, Eric will let you know how you can do that before wrapping us up.
Yeah, so if you wanted to know that this series was ending well in advance, well, you would have known that if you were a patron of the show, like Briar, T3 Kato, Vintage Macaroni, Corey from The World Is My Burrito, Nick Casbaro, the author of the Vidalarium series, and Botter from the Short Box podcast. And we appreciate them being a part of our community that's ongoing and growing at Patreon. Now, you can get early access, behind the scenes looks at episodes like this one for your membership to Patreon. You can support us there monthly, or if you can't do that, that's all right. All the free stuff that Phil has mentioned, you can do that. It only takes a moment of your time, and we are equally grateful for that. But this is our final goodbye for the Wait For It podcast on the Game Room Where It Happens. We still release new episodes every Wednesday. I'm Mr. Eric Almighty. That is my co-host Phil the Filipino, and we'll see you on the next one. All you have to do is wait for it.
This is the Wait For It podcast.